Myco listeners, to another TMN-Podcast transmission. This is Nova Mycelia, beaming across the grand cosmic mycelial network to bring you some truly spectacular Myco-Deep-Dives, pulsing straight from the core of the mushroom network. Whether you're sporing out in a tent under a starlit canopy or brewing a fresh mushroom tea in your forest den kitchen, get ready to sync up with the wildest, weirdest, and most wonderful updates in the ever-expanding Myco-verses. In today's episode, we've got a double dose of fungal fascination coming your way. First up, mushrooms on the menu, where we explore how mycelium is disrupting the food industry with meat alternatives, clean label preservatives, and bio-fermented proteins made from agricultural waste. From global brands to biotech startups, mushrooms are showing up not just on your plate, but as the plate, the packaging, and the entire food system itself. Then, after a brief myco break, we'll spiral into the strange and sublime with Myco-Mutations and mind expansions, a dive into Africa's newly discovered psychedelic species, Psilocybe ochraceocentrata, the dreamy, ultra-potent mutant strain known as Snowball, and the rise of legal psilocybin use in places like Colorado. It's taxonomy, therapy, and trip science all wrapped into one wild segment. And make sure you stick around after the Myco Deep Dives for our signature Myco Jam session, powered by Mycoverse Productions. But before we Myco dive any deeper, it's time for your TMN news and updates fresh from the living edge of the mushroom network. First up, over at the TMN main site, the underground engineers have been quietly tunneling forward with several massive expansions. From enhanced Myco patron features to new multi-site integrations and Myco Hive AI-powered navigation tools, you'll notice the web of mycelial interconnection just got a serious upgrade. Meanwhile, on TMN-radio.com, the airwaves are glowing with fresh tracks, surprise spore beat drops, and brand new show segments, including our psychedelic remix block, cosmic interviews, and Myco-Sci ambient late-night sets. The spores are dancing, and so are we. Now, a little update from the Mushroom Academy. We know some of our Myco learners are still patiently waiting for us to respond to their submissions for the free course, Introduction to Mycology. We hear you, and we promise we'll be catching up soon. In the meantime, if you feel ready, please keep moving forward with your coursework. Learning is non-linear, and the mycelium rewards the curious. Behind the scenes, we're working on transforming the Mushroom Academy into something even more dynamic, with plans to integrate interactive AI companions, customizable learning paths, and Myco Hive AI, our upcoming network that lets you grow your knowledge just like a real fungal colony, organically, intelligently, and interconnected. So whether you're just getting started or already fruiting knowledge, stay engaged, stay weird, and know that the spores are working. Always. And now, with your news freshly myceliated, let's now dive back into today's spore-splitting Myco Deep Dives with Myco Capman and Mira Fungwell.
Welcome back, Myco listeners, to another Myco Deep Dive. We're here on the TMN-Podcast, brought to you by the Mushroom Network.
Hello again.
Today, we're really getting into something fascinating. It's this piece called Mushrooms on the Menu, Innovations in Mushroom-Based Foods and the Future of Sustainable Eating.
Yeah, and it's not just about, mushrooms on your pizza. It goes way beyond that.
Totally. If you think fungi just a side dish, well, you're in for a surprise.
Yeah.
This is about how they're becoming, central players.
Exactly. Central players in building a more sustainable food system. It's looking at how these amazing organisms, especially mycelium, are really stepping up.
Mycelium, and that's the root network, right?
Interconnected web, yeah.
Yeah.
And the innovations discussed here, they're genuinely groundbreaking. It tackles environmental issues, nutrition challenges. It's quite comprehensive.
Okay, so the main theme is how fungi are moving beyond just food into solving bigger problems, tackling sustainability, how we feed everyone. It sounds almost futuristic.
It does a bit, but it's happening now. And what's really striking is the versatility. This piece covers everything from, meat alternatives, using waste
reduction, yeah. So
and even the regulatory side, which is crucial. It just shows how adaptable fungi are.
Right. So let's dive in. The report kicks off with mycelium-based meat alternatives, calls it a mycoprotein revolution. It sounds significant.
It is, and for good reason. Mycelium, that huge underground network of thread-like cells.
Yeah.
It naturally has this fibrous structure. And if you think about it, that texture is inherently quite similar to meat.
Huh. Like nature already built the scaffolding.
Sort of, yeah. And the way it's grown, the sustainability, it's a massive contrast to traditional meat production.
How so?
Well, you don't need sunlight. It uses minimal land, minimal water.
Wow.
And zero animal inputs. Compare that to raising livestock. It's night and day.
A huge difference. The report mentions Infinite Roots, formerly Mush Labs.
That's right. Over in South Korea, they're a key example. They've partnered with Pomun, a big food company there, and launched mycelium burger patties.
Burgers made from fungi. In Asia, no less.
Exactly. And targeting Asia is significant, right? Given the high meat consumption in parts of the region. If this scales up, the potential environmental impact is huge.
Okay, so how do they actually make these patties? It mentions submerged cultivation fermentation. Sounds technical.
Well, think of it like brewing almost.
Yeah.
They grow the mycelium in these big liquid-filled tanks. That's the submerged part.
Okay.
It's a controlled environment, so growth is efficient, consistent. And the fermentation is just the fungi doing its thing, breaking down nutrients in the liquid to grow.
Gotcha.
And the end product, this dense biomass that's packed with nutrition. We're talking complete proteins, all the essential amino acids, micronutrients.
And flavor. Or is it bland?
No, that's the other thing. The fermentation process itself naturally creates these complex, savory, umami flavors. It's not just a blank slate.
Interesting. So it's nutritious and has its own flavor profile. How does it stack up against, say, soy or pea protein? The report makes some comparisons.
Yeah, there are some key advantages. Nutritionally, mycelium often wins on fiber and micronutrients.
Okay.
Then there's speed. Mycelium can be ready to harvest in like 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah. Compare that to months for growing soy or peas.
That's incredibly fast.
And environmentally, almost zero methane emissions, unlike livestock. Plus, a lot of these fungi strains don't need any genetic modification.
Wow. Those are really strong points. And it fits right in with what consumers want now, doesn't it? Health, environment, ethics.
Precisely. People are way more aware of the impact of their food choices.
They want clean labels, minimal processing.
Exactly. So these fungi options, they really appeal to flexitarians, vegans, or just people trying to eat more consciously. It hits that sweet spot.
Makes sense. Okay, so moving on from meat alternatives. The report also talks about upcycling mushroom waste, which is interesting because you think of mushroom growing as pretty sustainable already.
Right, but there are always byproducts, aren't there? Even in cultivation, you get stems, trimmings, things that often just get tossed.
Yeah.
And globally, food waste is a massive problem. So the question is, can we use those mushroom bits more effectively?
And that's where companies like Chinova Bioworks come in, using white button mushroom stems.
You got it. They take those stems, which might otherwise be waste, and they extract something called chitosan. From that, they make chiber.
Chiber, what is that?
It's a natural preservative. It's derived from the mushroom cell walls, and it's really effective against mold, yeast, bacteria, the stuff that makes food spoil.
No way. So it extends shelf life.
Yeah, in all sorts of things. Beverages, plant-based dairy, sauces. It helps keep them fresher for longer, naturally.
And natural is key there, right? Plus, clean label.
Absolutely. Huge selling points. It's allergen-free, it's vegan, it's transparent. Consumers want alternatives to synthetic preservatives.
So it's a double win. You reduce food waste and replace synthetic chemicals.
Exactly. It's a great example of that circular economy idea in action, using every part of the mushroom.
The report even hints at other uses for stems, like pet food or biomaterials.
Yeah, the potential's definitely there. Compost boosters, textile treatments. Once you start seeing the whole fungi as a resource, loads of possibilities open up.
It really changes the perspective. Okay, this fungi story keeps getting richer. Next up, biotech meets mycology, fungal fermentation.
Right, this is where technology really amplifies what fungi can do naturally. Think the Better Meat Co.
Okay, what are they doing?
They have this patented fermentation process. Look at this. They use leftover potato waste.
Potato waste?
Yeah, like from making fries or chips, probably. They feed it to specific filamentous fungi.
And the fungi eat the potato waste.
They love it. They rapidly convert the starches and sugars in the waste into a high-protein fibrous biomass. They call it rhiza mycoprotein.
Wow, turning waste into valuable protein. That's brilliant.
It's incredibly efficient. These fungi are just metabolic powerhouses.
And the report mentions it's minimally processed. compared to, like, extrusion for other plant proteins.
Yeah, that's a potential advantage. Less processing can mean retaining more nutrients, maybe a better texture.
And what do they make with this rhizos stuff?
All sorts. Burgers, nuggets, even things like pasta and jerky. It's very versatile.
This is maybe the start of a fungal bioreactor economy. That sounds very sci-fi.
But it's happening. Instead of just fields or farms, we're cultivating microbial fungi in controlled bioreactors.
Like big tanks again.
Exactly. Feeding them waste streams, basically, and harvesting this food-grade biomass.
And the benefits.
Super fast production, maybe 10 times faster than some traditional methods. High yield per square foot. And crucially, no hormones, no antibiotics, no pathogens like you worry about with livestock.
It's industrial scale upcycling almost. Turning waste into nutrition, cutting emissions.
That's the potential, yeah. A really powerful tool.
Okay, but for any new food ingredient like this to actually get to us, the consumers, it needs regulatory approval. The report mentions GRAS status in the US. What's that about?
GRAS just means generally recognized as safe. It's a key step in the US food system.
Why is it so important?
Well, if an ingredient achieves GRAS status, either through the FDA reviewing it or through what's called self-affirmation based on expert consensus, it means it can be used in foods without needing separate pre-market approval for every single application.
Okay. It simplifies things a lot for companies.
Hugely. It signals that the ingredient is considered safe for its intended use.
And the report highlights Celex. They got self-affirmed GRAS for their morel mushroom mycelium.
That's right. A big milestone for them. And their morel mycelium sounds impressive nutritionally.
Yeah, what's in it?
About 50% protein, 25% dietary fiber, low fat, plus B vitamins, and lots of bioactive antioxidants.
Wow, that's a powerhouse.
Definitely. And having that GRA status just opens the door for them to use it in all kinds of products. Plant-based meals, protein bars, maybe even functional drinks.
So we might start seeing morel mycelium on ingredient lists soon.
That's the idea. And while GRS is a US thing, similar safety approvals are needed and being sought elsewhere, Canada, Europe, Asia. The demand is global.
It really feels like fungi are moving from the fringe to the mainstream, doesn't it? And the environmental benefits compared to animal agriculture, the numbers are stark.
They really are. You look at the water savings, up to 95% less than beef, apparently.
95%.
The land use reduction, freeing up land for maybe rewilding or carbon capture. And the greenhouse gas emissions estimates are up to 30 times lower than conventional meat. It's just a different league.
It's hard to argue with those numbers.
Yeah.
But it's not just about meat replacement, is it? The report mentioned other things?
No, definitely not. The potential is much broader. We're seeing research into mycoproteins as egg replacers in baking.
Interesting.
Fermented mycelium fats as a potential alternative to palm oil.
Oh, that would be huge.
And even using fungi materials for sustainable packaging. Companies like MycoWorks, Ecovative, they're making compostable packaging from mycelium.
So fungi could help package our food and be the food itself.
Potentially, yes. The versatility is just incredible.
And it's getting noticed by big organizations too, right? Good Food Institute, UNFAO.
Yeah.
Even the ITCC.
Yeah, they're all acknowledging the role fungi can play in alternative protein strategies and reducing reliance on livestock. It makes you wonder, could mushroom-based meals become standard in places like schools or hospitals one day?
It feels plausible, doesn't it? A real shift in how we think about protein and food production. Now, there was another section I found really thought-provoking, this psychedelic ripple effect.
Yes. The idea that the changing perception of psychedelic mushrooms might actually be boosting the image of all fungi.
Right. As psilocybin gets more therapeutic legitimacy, approvals in places like Oregon, Colorado.
A stigma starts to fade.
Does that positive association spill over onto edible mushrooms?
That seems to be the argument. There's this growing public fascination with mycology. Generally, you see it in documentaries, books like Entangled Life, online.
People are definitely more curious about fungi.
And that curiosity, that more positive framing, could absolutely benefit the edible mushroom market. It might draw in new consumers interested in health, wellness, sustainability, all things connected to the broader world of fungi.
It's like the whole kingdom is getting a PR boost.
And speaking of that kingdom, it's vast, isn't it? The report touches on undiscovered species.
Oh, massively vast. We're constantly finding new fungal species, and many have really unique abilities.
Like what?
Well, imagine fungi with special enzymes that could break down plastics.
Wow.
Or create new savory flavors naturally. Or species that tolerate high salt, allowing food production in tough environments. Or ones that love heat, useful for biofuels or high-temp food processing.
And we barely scratched the surface. What was the figure? Over 90% undiscovered. Something like that. It's mind-boggling. The potential for future breakthroughs using fungi is just immense. We know so little, really.
Which is exciting, but also brings up challenges, right? The report mentions greenwashing and ethics.
Crucial points. With all this hype, there's a risk of greenwashing companies overstating the sustainability benefits. So transparency is key. We need clear supply chains, proper life cycle analyses, full nutritional data.
We need the receipts, basically.
Exactly. And then there are ethical questions. Who owns these patented mycelium strains or fermentation processes?
Right, intellectual property.
Who owns nature's original recyclers? Could small growers get pushed out? What about indigenous knowledge related to fungi? How is that protected and respected?
Those are complex issues. We need this myco future to be equitable, not just innovative.
Absolutely. It has to be both.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, our myco listener, from this deep dive? For me, it's just the sheer scale of the impact fungi are having and are poised to have.
Yeah, their role in transforming our food system towards sustainability is becoming undeniable. It's not a niche thing anymore.
From these mycelium meats cutting environmental footprints to using waste streams for preservatives, getting regulatory nods, fungi are proving themselves as this low-impact, high-nutrient, climate-resilient food source.
And supporting this shift, as the report suggests, can be done in lots of ways. You can try the new products, maybe even try growing some yourself.
Put some fungi in your kitchen.
Or just stay informed and share what you learn. It's about connecting science, nature, and, well, us, humanity.
It really does feel like we're stepping into a myco future. If you want to dig deeper, definitely check out www.themushroomnetwork.com. And for more discussions like this, head to www.tmn-radio.com.
And maybe a final thought for you to ponder. With, over 90% of fungi still out there undiscovered, what totally unexpected application do you think might emerge from the fungal kingdom in the next decade or two? Something we haven't even touched on today.
They say no two spores fall the same way, and no remix echoes the same in the Mycoverse. Echoes of the Mycoverse is your guided trip through the infinite alternate realities of sound. All remixes, all realms, all strange. Tune in Fridays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 6, and double up on Tuesdays 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. It's the soundtrack of another dimension, only on TMN-Radio.
That was a wild spore print of knowledge, Myco listeners. But hold up. Don't wander too far into the substrate just yet. After this Myco break, we're diving into mutations, the majestic snowball mushroom, and how Colorado is rewriting the very laws of consciousness. Only here on the TMN-Podcast. And hey, quick spore safety reminder. The Mushroom Network does not support or condone any illegal or reckless behavior. You are the pilot of your own vessel. So know your local laws, trust your inner compass, and tread the mycelial path with wisdom. Stay tuned and stay grounded.
Are you tired of the same three corporations controlling all the music you hear?
Yeah, so were we. So we said spore it and made our own. Welcome to TMN Radio, where we've infected the airwaves with fungi-powered frequencies. We got underground bangers, Myco-Deep-Dives, and cosmic beats big box media is too scared to touch. 24/7. No ads, except this one. And, well, these are actually technically called myco breaks. So inhale some mycelium-infused air, embrace your inner tree hugger, and get ready for some mind-blowing mycomania. The Mushroom Network has spoken. You've been chosen.
Tune in, the hottest growing underground network around.
TMN Radio. It's alive.
Welcome, Myco listeners, to this Myco Deep Dive, presented by the Mushroom Network.
Hello, everyone.
We're diving straight into a fascinating and really rapidly evolving field today. Myco-mutations and mind expansions. We're talking new species, mutant strains, and the future of psychedelic fungi.
It really is a dynamic time.
Yeah.
You see exciting developments popping up almost everywhere you look.
Right.
From, unexpected discoveries out in nature to these really quite groundbreaking cultivation innovations and even major shifts in the legal side of things.
Exactly. So we've got three main things we want to get into today. First up, there's this brand new psychoactive fungi species identified in Africa.
Which is huge news.
Totally. Then we'll look at the really intriguing world of mutant strains, including one that looks, well, pretty bizarre.
Snowball, yeah.
That's the one. And finally, we need to unpack some significant legal changes happening right here in the U.S., specifically Colorado.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive really is to pull out the key info from the Mushroom Network's reporting on all this.
Yeah, break it down for you, our Myco listeners.
Highlight what's most important, maybe what's surprising, and what it all might mean for how we understand and maybe even use these fungi going forward.
All right, sounds good. Let's kick off with Africa then, this new species. It was 2023, right? Alexander Bradshaw's team.
That's right, from Clark University. They published the taxonomic description of Psilocybe ochraceocentrata.
Ochraceocentrata, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It is, but the name actually tells you something. Ochraceo for that yellow ochre color on the cap, and Lycentrata for the central bump, the umbo.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
But the discovery itself, it's more than just, adding another name. For ages, the assumption was kind of that Psilocybe cubensis was the main psychoactive species globally.
Yeah, like the default one.
Exactly. And this finding, well, it really challenges that idea. It suggests maybe cubensis isn't quite so dominant everywhere.
And it really points to how much we still don't know about fungal diversity, especially psychedelic fungi.
Absolutely. There could be so much more out there, particularly in places like Africa, that haven't been maybe as thoroughly explored, mycologically speaking.
So taxonomically, how does it fit in?
Well, it's in the genus Psilocybe, obviously.
Okay.
And interestingly, they've placed it in the section cubensis.
Oh, so it is relatively closely related to cubensis then.
Genetically, yes, it shares a fairly recent common ancestor.
Right.
But morphologically, how it looks, it's got that convex cap, sometimes flattening out with that bump, the umbo.
And that distinctive yellow ochre color you mentioned?
Right. And crucially, it shows that blue bruising reaction.
The telltale sign.
The telltale sign that indicates, likely presence of psilocybin or related compounds.
And under the microscope, anything interesting there?
Yeah, the standard stuff you look for sublipsoid spores, these thick-walled structures called calycystidia on the gill edges.
Yeah.
But the key thing, preliminary tests show significant levels of both psilocybin and psilocin.
Wow. So it's definitely psychoactive, not just a look-alike.
Definitely. And while it's genetically closest to cubensis, the research highlights distinct differences, ecological niche, slight morphological variations, and specific molecular markers.
So it's truly its own species, evolved separately.
Precisely. It's not just some local variant of cubensis. Which is interesting because it makes you wonder about the evolutionary pressures in Africa that might have led to this particular species.
And what about traditional use? Do we know if people in the region were aware of it?
That's a really interesting point. Currently, there's no documented traditional use specifically for Psilocybe ochraceocentrata.
Okay.
But the paper points out this discovery happened in a region known for its rich history of using other plant-based entheogens.
So it raises the possibility, doesn't it? Maybe it was used, but just wasn't recorded in the scientific literature, or perhaps misidentified.
Exactly. It highlights that potential gap between traditional ecological knowledge and formal Western science. There might be local knowledge about these fungi that we just haven't tapped into yet.
Needs careful and respectful investigation, I suppose.
Absolutely. And biogeographically, thinking about where mushrooms grow, this is quite significant.
How so?
Well, we typically think of native psychoactive psilocybe as being primarily from the Americas, Asia, maybe parts of Europe. Finding a confirmed native species in Africa really cements the idea that these psychedelic fungi are a truly global phenomenon.
Right, not just restricted to certain continents. Evolution came up with these compounds multiple times in multiple places.
It seems that way, a really fascinating piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so from discovering species in the wild, let's switch gears to what humans are doing intentionally. These mutant strains. Tell me about this snowball mushroom. It sounds unique.
Well, the snowball is definitely causing a stir, particularly in the, let's say, the underground cultivation scene. It's a strain linked to a breeder known as Pope Joseph working with InoculateTheWorld.
And the look is the main thing.
It's certainly the most striking aspect initially. It just doesn't look like a typical mushroom. People describe it as like fluffy clouds or cotton balls, even small cauliflowers.
Wow. So no distinct cap and stem in the usual way?
Much less so. It forms these really dense, compact clusters. It also apparently colonizes substrate very vigorously, but the fruiting bodies themselves have much shorter stems, staying low and kind of bulbous.
Huh. And what about the important part, the potency?
That's the other major point of interest. Reports suggest it contains maybe 2 to 3 times the average psilocybin levels of standard cubensis.
2 to 3 times, that's a huge jump.
It is, and apparently higher levels of baeocystin too, another related alkaloid.
Interesting. Do they know how it came about? Was it bred for, or?
The thinking is that it was likely a spontaneous natural mutation that occurred in the culture.
Ah, okay.
And then someone spotted it, isolated it using tissue culture techniques, and worked to stabilize that trait through selective breeding. Selecting the best examples generation after generation.
So it shows how much variation can just pop up and how cultivators can harness that.
Exactly. It's a great example of that process.
Does this have implications beyond just being a novelty, like for therapy?
Potentially, yes. One of the big challenges in psilocybin therapy is dosage consistency. If a strain like Snowball has a reliable, consistent phenotype, meaning it predictably produces these potent fruits that could make dosing much more accurate.
Right, you know what you're getting more reliably.
Potentially, yes. And from a cultivation perspective, those dense clusters might mean higher yields per square foot for commercial growers if and when that becomes more widespread.
Good point. And you mentioned baeocystin being higher too. Does that change the effects?
That's a key question. We're still figuring out the exact roles of these minor alkaloids, the whole entourage effect idea.
Like in cannabis.
Precisely. Does a different ratio of psilocybin to psilocin to baeocystin create a subtly different subjective experience, or have different therapeutic actions? Snowball's unique profile makes it a really interesting candidate for studying that.
It feels like this is part of a bigger trend, doesn't it? People are actively breeding these fungi now, not just growing whatever spores they get.
Absolutely. It's moving beyond just basic cultivation. We're seeing more sophisticated selection and breeding, aiming for specific traits, much like we've seen happen over decades with cannabis, or even centuries with agricultural crops.
Are there other examples of these sort of designer shrooms?
Oh yeah. You have things like the various albino strains, which lack pigment. Albino penis envy is probably the most famous example. They have that ghostly, translucent look.
Right, I've heard of that one.
Then there are attempts at creating hybrids, trying to combine genetics from different species, maybe the potency of, say, Psilocybe azurescens with the easier cultivation of cubensis, although that's genetically complex.
Sounds tricky.
It is. And then you even see experiments focused purely on aesthetics, like tiny bonsai-style grows maybe aimed at the microdosing community. It's a whole subculture of innovation.
And is the mainstream scientific world paying attention to this underground work?
Increasingly, yes. That's a really important development. Universities, biotech companies, they're starting to look at these novel cultivars that have emerged from the community.
To study them properly.
Exactly. To analyze their alkaloid profiles accurately, study their genetics, perhaps replicate them in controlled, legal lab settings. It's sort of bridging that gap between community knowledge and formal pharmacology.
Fascinating. Okay, let's pivot to the legal side then. Colorado, Proposition 122 passed in 2022. What's the core idea there?
Right. Prop 122 essentially legalized the supervised use of certain natural psychedelics. Psilocybin is the main one initially, but specifically for therapeutic purposes.
So not recreational sales like cannabis in Colorado.
Correct. That's a crucial distinction. The focus is very much on mental health, well-being, and supported use, not a retail free-for-all.
And they started issuing licenses 2024 for what exactly?
Licenses for a few different things. There are licensed facilitators. These are trained individuals who guide the actual psilocybin sessions.
Okay, like a therapist or...
Similar role, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there are licensed healing centers, which are the physical locations where these supervised sessions can take place. They aren't retail shops.
Got it.
There are also service centers, which might offer a broader range, like preparation before a session, the session itself, and then integration support afterwards.
Integration, helping people make sense of the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And very importantly, the framework includes regulated cultivation. Licensed facilities can grow the actual psilocybin-containing fungi, but under very strict rules and standard operating procedures. SOPs.
So a very controlled supply chain focused entirely on this therapeutic model.
That's the intention. It's quite different from how cannabis legalization rolled out, where retail dispensaries were often the first step. Colorado's model is much more cautious and medically oriented, you could say.
Though I guess that raises questions about accessibility, cost.
Absolutely. Those are valid concerns. Balancing strict regulation with making sure people who could benefit can actually access and afford these services is going to be a key challenge moving forward.
What impact is this having already on research, industry?
It's definitely stimulating activity. We're seeing more interest from universities in Colorado wanting to do clinical research now that the state framework is in place.
Makes sense. Easier to get state-level approvals.
And you're seeing private companies setting up license centers, training facilitators. It's also encouraging more collaboration psychologists, talking to mycologists, talking to policy experts.
Building a whole new ecosystem almost?
In a way, yes. A regulated one.
How does Colorado's approach compare to, say, Oregon, which was the first state to legalize psilocybin therapy?
Oregon definitely paved the way with Measure 109. Colorado's Prop 122 built on that, but implemented arguably a more detailed and perhaps more tightly regulated structure from the outset. Both are focused on the supported use model, though.
And you have to assume the federal government, FDA, DEA are watching very closely.
Oh, undoubtedly. Colorado, along with Oregon, is serving as a real-world laboratory for these policies. The data and experiences coming out of these states will inevitably influence conversations about potential changes at the federal level or in other states.
It's a huge experiment, really.
A very significant one.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. From a brand new species popping up in Africa,
Psilocybe ochraceocentrata,
to these incredibly weird and potent mutant strains like the Snowball being bred.
Yeah, the human intervention site.
And then these major legal shifts creating frameworks for therapeutic use here in the US. It really feels like things are moving fast.
They really are. And what's striking is how interconnected it all is, isn't it? Discovering natural biodiversity might eventually feed into breeding programs.
Right.
And the changing legal landscape opens the door for researching both the wild species and the cultivated strains more formally, and potentially applying them therapeutically.
It all feeds into each other. Yeah. And for you, our Myco listeners, hopefully this gives a sense of the excitement. There are new research paths opening up, real potential for new therapies, and just fundamentally a deeper appreciation for how complex and powerful the fungal kingdom is.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we keep exploring this, this vast mycelial network, both literally underground and in terms of knowledge, what else is out there?
What other secrets are waiting?
Exactly. What other benefits? What other compounds? What other ways of understanding ourselves in nature might emerge from studying these fungi? And how is that going to reshape things?
A very profound thought to end on. Well, if you want to explore any of this further, definitely check out the Mushroom Network's website. That's www.themushroomnetwork.com.
Lots of great resources there.
And for more audio deep dives and Myco content, tune into our radio station at www.tmn-radio.com.
Keep listening, keep learning.
Absolutely. Until our next Myco Deep Dive, thanks for joining us and keep exploring.
You've just traversed the multiverses of myco evolution. From Africa's sacred spores to tomorrow's therapeutic strains, the mycelium never stops growing, nor do we. Up next, we pass the spores over to Mycoverse Productions, spinning the Mushroom Network's latest, hottest fungal tracks, echoing across the Mycoverses. So keep your ears open, Myco listeners. The beat is alive and it's glowing.
Told us hush, we sang in Spores. We don't hide, we flood the floor. I'm the captain, neon soil, blooming rage, I don't recoil. Flashing freak, I drip in fire, bounce from pain to full of time. Moss on boots and glowing grin, scream with joy, I rot to win. You stay tame, I blast and sound, baseline loud and world unbound. We bloom loud, freak flag. You trim your edge, I sharpen mine with beats that melt your crooked line. This ain't shame, it's full flush pride. I wear the storm you try to hide. Cracked in sport, I turn to art. Every scar's a glowing part. I don't need to dim for them. This grove gon' roar again and again. We blew loud, we blew loud, we blew loud. We blew loud, fruiting bright with zero bounds. Glow in the rise, laugh in decay. We blew loud every single day. Can't shut this down. We run this out. We're not soft, we are not still. We bloom like bass, we bloom with will. We bloom with will. So say it proud, scream it clear. We bleed on loud every year. Scream it clear. We bleed on loud every year. Can't sit go loud. Can't sit go loud. Glow in the rot, laugh in decay. We bloom loud every single day. Can't shut this down. We run this out. We bloom loud. We bloom loud. Can't sit go loud. We bloom This one's for the ones who never fit, for the Lincoln Lickers, the moss heads, the mud-blooded weirdos. You tried to prove my vibe too neat. Told me spores don't grow off me, but I rooted deep inside. Waste no grew neon caps where darkness glow. Wired raw, not fungus or breaking rules when I ossify. I hate your mold, take your type. I fruit feral, I'm a basic tribe. Grow weird or die normal, pick one choose. I'm not the captain plays by the rules. Grow glitch and grow bent, grow strange with pride. 'Cause normal's dead, and we survive. You think I'm lost 'cause I won't come, but I build weird worlds as far as all. You flex filters, I flex, why ride you forgot that weird's all I got. Fire rap headphones, boss on my case, fuck a two-bass drop. Hit like bricks, I ain't gonna make you feel safe. I'm here to grow shit you can't fake. Grow weird or die normal, pick one choose. I'm not the cat that plays by the rules. Grow glitch and grow bent, grow strange with pride. 'Cause normal's dead, and we survive. My cap don't care what you say. It blooms sideways anyway. Call me freak, call me fake. I'm the flush you couldn't break. Weird is ancient. Weird is more and more. Grow weird or rot uniform. Initiating flush signal. All caps prepare to step.
Network.
Still fresh with pain, cracked my stem but I bloomed in rain. No shortcuts, no soft acclaim, just base and bark in my blood and name. Try to break me, try to bend, but spores like me refruit to end. No spotlight, I rot in peace, but step to mine and I unleash. Keep that flow. Ground in the groove, heart of the root. I ain't loud, but I don't mute. Caps don't lie, and neither do scars. Earn my flush in fungal wars. My head's low, but spirits tall. I rise in cracks, I won't crawl. It ain't about the flash or fame. It's holding ground when you're in flame. Cap up, head down. Fist to the ground, I don't back down. Cap up, head down. Flush for the ones that can't be found. Cap up, head down. Stand in the route, I won't let go. Cap up, head down. Bloom through pain and keep that flow. I don't need shine, just roots, just grind. I got what grows, I give no sign. Oh. Cap up, head down. This is the goal, this is the sound. Cap up, head down. Feral focused, fungus crown. Cap up, head down. This is the code, this is the sound. Cap up, head down. Feral focused, fungus crown. I've been stitched into soil, wired chest cavity. Baselines now my gravity. Nova's voice in my veins. I bloom from pain, not shame. Mycelium, break, boy, break me clean. Rebirth wrapped in disordered dreams. I don't fade, I fracture flame. Screaming spores, they know my name. I'm still growing underneath. Flush complete. Oh, I'm just a spore. Too small, too strange. You don't even know what I'm cooking, baby. Let me show you soft. I'm the dial, no lab notes, the twitching. Your clean quotes, you laugh when I drop to the float. Now I'm flooding the roots of your throat. They slip when I split the log. Now my cap rides a digital fog. Tiny numb, tactical raw. Multiply wild decay on the spot. Spores ain't soft, we crash in clouds. Slip through cracks, never play loud. Silent takeover, dirt drenched ply, microscopic. Better watch your shot. Right. I've been creeping, coated in hush. Spores don't flex, we infiltrate. One glitch, bloom, and it's too late. Metal in my melody, trap in my tone. Baseline bruise like an overgrown stone. Think I'm weak cause I split too small. I'm the fall that outgrows all. Spores ain't soft, we crash in clouds. Slip through cracks, never play loud. Silent takeover, dirt trench plot, microscopic. Better watch your shot. Watch your caps fall. Too late now. Already spread. You called me weak, but I'm airborne now. Enjoy the bloom, fool. They told us hush. We sang in spore. We don't. I'm the cap in neon soil, blooming rage. I don't recoil, flashing free. I drip in fire, bounce from pain to full attire. Moss on boots and glowing grin. Scream with joy, I rot to win. You stay tame, I blast in sound. Baseline loud and world unbound. We're the wind, we're the blow. We bloom loud, the silence more. We bloom loud. Freak The stone.
This isn't mercy, this is flame, this isn't fame, this is the name of every spore they try to break, now rising loud in every quake. The